I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, not the rich men. I wish politicians look out for miners, and not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the whole beast milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, north of rich men. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
With Photo Vibrance, you can transform any photo into a mesmerizing moving image. And
all right, so let's get we'll take a moment. This is Christine on Gibson County, Indiana. Welcome everyone. I see some. Make sure you got your county in there as well, not just Indiana, but which county on Indiana, right? We're open to support each other. I want to take a few minutes first before we get started and take a moment to honor our Creator. All right, thank you very much. We'll take just a moment here. I need to resend the link to Joe real quick. There was an issue as I was trying to get things set up, so this should get him in the call. Hold on just a moment. And everyone else, I apologize. It was a little bit crazy trying to get some of these things set up. Hopefully you all should be able to hear me. And getting some of these things set up. But that way we're trying to get new things worked in here. All right, so the next thing we want to do is go ahead and get moving with our presentation. I'll run through our part, the info for the assembly first, and then Joe will be in the call and will be able to come for his portion. Now I should be able to screen share on Zoom too. Share screen. Alright, so we should be able to see that as well. Alright. Okay. Let me hold on just a moment. Let me stop screen sharing for a moment. Let me go ahead and see if I can resend the link to the other members to get that out real quick, so that they can be able to make sure that they can get into it here. Hold on, I apologize. Zoom hasn't always been the most friendliest here, but we're working through it, trying to get the recurring link set up for it and everything. And let me get this one. So those that are members, look for your what is yours? There we go. Okay. All right, look for your email with the link. Okay, you may have to copy and paste it or whatever, but that way you can work on getting that link in. Okay? All right, let's go ahead now and get our screen share going for Zoom and for y'all. Well, maybe if I didn't do, well, you have to be able to see that to see that. So, but I have to screen share on Zoom. Share screen. Okay. Alright, and I will turn my camera on somehow. Oh, maybe this way. There we go. Ah, okay. Alright. I'm not sure how Zoom would be. Well, maybe you're seeing me in the little box. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go to here. Alright, so today is Monday, August the 21st of 2023. And again, I do want to welcome everyone that has stepped into the call with us. I see we got, I want to say that it's going to be St. Joseph with Saint starting in there. I'm not seeing the whole, let me see if I can bring that. There we go. Oh, yep, gotcha. Alright, dear. Vigo County, alright. So we got all the way at the north and all the way at the south. Okay, so let's go ahead and again, I will go ahead and get things going, and then when I finish off, then Joe will be stepping up to be able to go over the things that he was going to go over. Alright, I want to point out that if you'll notice, you'll start seeing that when I'm putting my information in, I'm putting in Christine Michelle Van Pelt Nee Bundy. This is because of dealing with the name issue, being that I am married, and so that way we can make sure that things are clear. Alright? Okay, so that way you're not wondering who that is, but it's also because in order to for some of those that want to send a U.S. Postal Service money order, they would need to send it in Christine Van Pelt, because that's the Indiana state ID that I have. It's non-voter ID in order to be able to cash that. So I wanted to let you know why it's showing that so that you'll be able to see it. So there's no question as to who. I actually had an email from Evangeline, the woman on New Mexico, all the way over on New Mexico, sending me an email, said that they received a screenshot wondering who Christine Van Pelt was for Indiana. So I figured, well, if it's traveling all the way over to New Mexico, we probably better go ahead, and there's confusion, so we probably better go ahead and get it straight. So, alright, just wanted to make sure we have that in. Let me go ahead and close. We don't need to. Okay. All right. So hopefully you should be able to see that. Okay, good. Okay. All right, we'll move forward with the Bivens decision. This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's call that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, county, city, or township agencies present? Is their response to the Bivens decision for the first time? If you are in the call, on the Zoom call, you would of course speak up. If you are on the live streams, post in the chat. Okay. Is there, hearing none for the first time, is there any response to the Bivens decision for the second time? Hearing and seeing no comments in the chat. Hearing none for the second time. For the third and final time, any response to the Bivens decision? Hearing and seeing none. Furthermore, anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any government, including the territorial United States or municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here must fully disclose their presence and purpose now or leave the premises or call. Remember, you are the public employee, and it's our duty to remind you. All right, that last line there, if you've been keeping up with Anna's articles, you will notice that that was from a most recent article. And so I wanted to make sure and get that in so you can start including that as well. That it was that Americans are not to keep quoting U.S. code. That is only if you're in reference and dealing with actual federal employees. Okay, so look for the article a most recent article from Anna about for Americans need to stop using stop citing U.S. code, and it's to remind that they're the public employee, and we're supposed to remind them. It's our duty to remind them what their responsibility is, but it's not to use it on each other as well. Okay, I see Joe is in the call. Welcome. We'll go ahead and hopefully everything is good for you. We'll run things through here real quick so that we can get to you, so we don't hold you up any more than necessary. Alright, so I'm going to do a run through of just updating on county status, papered up, armored up, treasury status, of course the Indiana State National Shop, and there's been some product updates there, so I'll do a quick run through there in a few minutes so you can see the items there that are already there and items that are in the queue ready to be put out there. Alright, and here is the Public International Alert for State Assemblies, so please make sure that you are reading that. We are at a point where we have to actually be at participating members. Committees are the way we work, so I'm going to do a brief run through of that, but in the presentation you'll have the link, and then that way you can really dive deep into that to get a grasp that the committees are where we have to be. Okay? So once you realize this and understand this, but hopefully this will give you a little more clarity as to some more details about how the committees work. And of course and all of this I have been draft versions all the way across the country, so everybody's sharing as we're going along. Also, here's the link for the current version of Assembly Militia Standards and Principles, and then of course the link that Joe shared with us a few weeks ago for the Standard Operating Procedures template, so that way you have the Assembly members have that link to be able to work with that. Alright, so real quick update. We have had one new national in this past 2 weeks. They are papered up, but it also populated Grant County. So now we are literally in that awkward point. There's 92 counties on Indiana, 30 are now populated, 31 in process, and 31 haven't even spoken up yet. So we're literally right in that middle. And then, of course, there are 139 that haven't presented which county that they are on at this point. All right, so then that ups our numbers for papered up to 68 and armored up to 38. And again, for the Indiana Assembly membership, you've got for participating members is armored up status, the background check process through clear checks. Once it's getting to where it's going into, you're going to step up for a role, then it goes to the Federation for, depending on that elected position, for vetting process. And then the participation member agreement. This has been in all the emails, all the assembly agendas from day one. Those three pieces, well, they're huge pieces, but those 3 points are the armored up, background check, and the participation member agreement. Okay, that hasn't changed. And that's where we're at. Many think that they're armored up when they present the 1779 two witness testimonies, 928, and the notarized declaration of political status. But what actually is the armored up process is the actual serving of the notices. That means actually mailing to the U.S. Secretary of State the cover letter and declaration of political status. That means actually canceling voter registration. It means actually following through with revocation of the IRS, the election to pay IRS for D.C. and New York. It's the upholding of it at that point. You put the paperwork on the record, but you're not. The armored up part comes in when you're actually serving notice and inform them, and then you start walking as armored up. But when you haven't served any of those notices, you cannot think that having that credential card and just showing the credential card, it is not going to be your magic wand to wave and save you from everything. It's those actual cancellation of notices. It's gaining the knowledge to be able to articulate for yourself who you are and what you know. Because flat out, I know, for example, here on Indiana, they will toss out that credential and they will toss away any paperwork. It's all in how you present yourself and how you're able to articulate it. Okay? And again, on Mattermost, those that are papered up, they've been given access to Mattermost. That's where your travel channel is going to give you some awesome tools about how to be able to have those conversations if you get into those situations. All right. Again, the link to the shop. Okay. All right, so we're still at 1 recurring monthly donor. Now we'll go ahead and go over and screen share. I'm just going to give a little tidbit in here, Joe. I apologize that the link was messed up, but the start of the call I was playing a really good song from YouTube. From that.
It's okay.
It's that one, the new one from Radio West Virginia, the guy that I'm sure
I saw that.
Yeah, I'm sure you've had to over. Okay. All right. I am getting over to. I'm still display. Okay. So you all should be able to still see this. So let's come here. All right. So, which by the way, I have connected with the Nevada Assembly. To support with, they've already got a base template to be able to share so we can upload and have a consistent template until the Federation is able to bring online all of the states with a uniform base template website. But I've been updating here. Okay, so when you come to the website at homeonindiana.org for the shop, so it has this banner here that it's online, so we'll dismiss it so you can be able to see the menu here, and then the shop. So of course gifts, there are various where you can, surprise. There are also, you'll see in various pages that on the side you'll be able to also do a donate as well. Then of course are the services. Here I've also added return postage, being that many, they get excited and are making sure to get all the paperwork in to be able to get it to me that they forget to be able to send a way to be able to send them their paperwork back. So here I've added this link up here as well. There is a publishing link here for those that have already visited with a public notary for their paperwork and then are just ready to publish. Once you've posted that, then I will be able to connect with you to be able to retrieve your information. All right, so we'll go ahead and look at some of the things that are up here. So we already knew about the generic and private auto plates and the debt redemption. Added shirts, so you'll be able to pick for a long sleeve, short sleeve, different colors and sizes. Here's for a sticker. Obviously it would be turned rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise, but that's how the mock design pulled it. But here is for a full sheet sticker with it, or for several stickers on the sheet. Let's see if it had other item, because there's more that I'm trying to get put over there as well. I guess they went over here. Yeah. Laptop sleeve, tote bag, backpack, no trespass sticker. Okay, so some update. Yeah, you'll see here where you can be able to do a dollar amount, or you can set a custom amount to be able to make a donation and support the assembly. Okay. Oh, all right. So, committees, the way we work. Alright, let's make this a little bit bigger. Again, the link is in the presentation, and I'll be posting the presentation after the call so that we have the follow-up with who motioned to adjourn to the next. Okay, so this goes to run through that the committees are the backbone. Joe has brought that to us several times already at this point of our assembly and the way our government does business. Alright, so the primary functions are contributing to the efficient operation of our assembly by devoting time to researching, working together, and bringing to the assembly the needed information for making decisions on specific subject matters. Collective wisdom is always superior to individual wisdom. Then it goes through and identifies what the expectations are. I agree that this is important, because if you don't know what's expected, then, many will think that they can push barriers. So we want to make sure that we have an idea of what the expectations are, so we're pretty clear. To understand the reconstruction blueprint, so the committee work always aligns with the available reconstruction guidelines. To be active on Mattermost, just talked about that. I'm not sure what NOICE is, but that's what was in here. So I will research to see what that is and see how we can. But Mattermost, maybe it was the state that presented this. Maybe they use it. So we'll look it up and see. Maybe it's something that would be a useful tool for us. To ensure alignment with our state committees, and where applicable, coalitions or national associations have formed for that committee or purpose. To be knowledgeable and passionate about the committee's area of activity. To be aware of the committee's prior work, performance, procedures, where they exist, and to help establish them where they don't. To choose a chairman. Joe talked about that in the previous call, that's one of the things that are important, is bringing forward choosing a chairman. to establish together if what the committee comes up with should go before the General Assembly for a vote, or if the committee can vote internally, depending on procedural versus substance decisions, and the like, which with the standard operating procedure here, which I probably should be screen sharing in Zoom so everybody's getting the same thing too. I apologize. Let me get over here. This should be it. Okay. Oh. Right. Okay, the link is in there. Technology. Okay, so it's the standard operating practice, so you'll be able to see that when you, because I'm an Explorer and I don't log in here very often for very much. Okay, but that goes back to that. So that gives the, how you're going to be able to establish what those procedures are. And that is a great tool to be able to support you with that. To continuously find solutions for forward movement with results. And again, it's the working together as a committee. That means the coming to assembly members, connecting together as the assembly. It's not you go off on your own and meet with others, but then still don't share the information. Come forward to share the information with the assembly. Okay? So this is about, we're learning how to come together and how to work together and what a team really is. I mean, past experience, a team usually means that there's probably one person that does most of the work, while a majority of the others probably don't do very much. You're grateful that they even put their name there, that they were a part of it. So what the real world, what it is like over here, is everybody comes to the table with substance, presenting something of value, something that is forward moving, and not something that is purposely to try and stall the process. So that's why there's also things implemented to help with keeping the timeline going as well, like within that standard practices link from Joe. All right, expectations for the work environment. You'll be able to go through that again. That standard of practice gives you more, gives you the actual working it out through there, but this gives you a text version giving you an idea of more details of it. Then it goes into rules of engagement. So those are things that you're going to want to be able to pay attention to, and how to be able to support each other and communicate and be more effective communicators with each other, so that you then can be able to share. Okay, then it goes through for a brief step through of a committee meeting structure to give that support. Okay, and then in the presentation, okay, so then we're going to just a brief. And I'm not going to go through the standard operating procedures right now because I'm not going to be able to. But Joe, if you go in the past 2 to 3 General Assembly calls, you'll be able to see where we have brought it up a few times. And I'm sure Joe's going to probably bring it up. We can pull that link up later if we need to. We will go ahead and just do a brief on the... where is that? Where did that go to? Okay, hold on. Let me stop sharing so I can pop in to see things without, because not everything can be. Did it? Oh, and that's why I'm not finding it. Duh, because it's in Word in Libra. That's why I wasn't seeing it on the. Alright, so we should, yep, it's there, and let me get Zoom pulled up to screen share that. Okay. Alright, so it goes through and defines the mission statement, And again, it's standards and principles rather than practices. We want to hold principles at this point. We have a sense of duty with this. It's not just a rote process and we have no obligation. We just literally doing, well, that's not my job. No, we have an actual obligation, duty, so we're holding principles at this point. So assembly members of the unorganized militia shall ever stand for peace, as have our forefathers before us, first to family God, for whom we acknowledge the authority of all rights and all the blessings of our native states. And so you'll be able to read that all the way through, because you really, and read it out loud too, so you can allow it to sink in, the importance of that. Then this goes through and develop a cohesive and competent command structure. So, of course, it's train our members in the many disciplines necessary to the functions of the militia as a whole and to the members individually. Educate our members in areas of history, law, and principle. We're working through all of this. We've got Joe coming. The first 4 Mondays in the month, and as well as you have on Wednesdays, we've been going through Brent Allen Winter's breakdown. Right now, we're in the Constitution, as we had already finished the Declaration of 76. So we're maybe through Article 1 of the Constitution. All right, so we're working through that as well. All right, and so you can be able to get more detail into that as to what to expect from there. So, duty, code of conduct. I'm an American state national of my state, serving in the unorganized militia. I'm prepared to guard and protect my family, assembly, county, and state. And so, of course, you'll want to continue to read through that. And there's 7. Fully populated militia rank structure. So that'll give you some more detail as to how the ranking structure goes. And of course, officer ranks. So this is in unit structure. So these are great to give you more detail getting in there. And then Joe would be able to, as if he wanted to piggyback off this at any point or whatever at some point, I'm sure you'll see this information. So when he says it and you end up reading it through here, then it'll start clicking for you. The more you can have and keep reading through it, the more it'll start coming through as to how to be able to work with that. Then goes through supplies, logistics, religious support. Okay, so chaplains are to the militias, Bibles are to Christians. They provide the necessary guidance and direction as it concerns our relationship with our Father in heaven. They perform services in the field and lead prayers and public events. They can be relied upon to give a word of advice, a sympathetic ear, or a strong shoulder, depending on your need. Each battalion should have a chaplain holding the rank of lieutenant. They are officers and should be respected as such, but barring an assistant or two, chaplains do not have command authority over militiamen. And it's remembering that it has nothing to do with any particular religion. It is clearly about our relationship with the Father in heaven. Okay, basic training plan. So that and you'll start hearing more of this verbiage. You've heard CERT with me a few times, and working to try and get that set up to start a regular CERT training that for emergency first responders. We've had some video on that of reminding you that you're the first responder. Then it goes through types of equipment. So it gets more in depth into the militia, so we'll be able to get into more detail as we go along, but so you can have something to even print to be able to start diving in and digesting the information. All right, so I think that leads us up to you, Joe, so that way we could get into more of what your expertise are.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank
That's quite a spread of information. It's really great. It goes well beyond priming your audience. It's really great.
Thank you.
I would have one request, and also for people who are either on the call or reviewing afterwards. I don't know how much this would be as a burden on you, Christine, but providing a kind of a map of all of the functions, kind of like a sand table of the various known committees within your 4 pillars, those that you have functioning, kind of things that are happening or should be happening in the future, now and in the future, those kinds of things. Do you have that, like a kind of a strip map? Or
Not
like
yet.
that?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can work together, kind of put something together that's a modular
Okay.
sand table kind of a thing.
Right.
Because if you're having a bit of time trying to articulate where you're at in the growth process, it's somewhere possibly between abstract and technical. You know, it's somewhere in between where those things are. And if that's the case with your development, I'm not part of your other assemblies, so I don't know if you have, a lot of feedback or people attending on your directory, discussions being held, committees working. So I don't know that, but other assemblies are struggling with trying to define their abstract and try to go beyond their abstract state assembly construction and then the technical aspects. So what you just shared is more of a kind of technical aspect. So it's hard,
Mm-hmm.
It's just been my experience that a sand table or kind of a chart,
Right.
organization chart showing where this particular discussion that you just shared, the details, some of the technical details, the inner workings in the militia. But if it was kind of, again, it's just tedious, tedious work. But replays and those who receive those materials, they'll catch on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
That's what I'm hoping with the repetition, and as it starts organically coming together, we'll be able to see how to form it.
right. So I want to, again, with the abstract and technical, and going now transitioning more from the drill into the militia, knowing that the way the structure there we're growing familiar with, that those 2 assemblies in particular are kind of tethered together. There's a lot of things that happens closely in between them, and so. In the weeks past, we did share a standard operating procedure instrument, a builder. So you guys have that, and it works within all of the assemblies because all of the assemblies have their various committees. Within those committees, they build standard operating procedures. Once those things are locked in, once a standard is locked in, then it automatically goes from an abstract, abandoning the abstract thought, into the standard, the procedural development. And with the procedural development, it's built on technicalities. Okay, so that's just the realm that I see other assemblies, especially in Area 4, that are working through, coming to terms with. So I wanted to share with you if I could here.
Okay, let me give you.
Some of the details that are in between the abstract and the technical. So I'm going to play a little game here. It's kind of fun. It's a hunt for detail, kind of due diligence kind of thing. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen, yes. And okay. Let me make sure for the stream. Hold on. With mine, it should display capture. Gotcha. Okay. You're good.
Okay, so I'm going to work between these 6 tabs here.
Okay.
But just as a kind of a primer, I'm going to show everybody the PKTF News website. It's still in its infancy, still growing. Some of the things to expect with it are, and this ties into exactly what we're talking about, especially with militia. Okay, but the details Peacekeeping Task Force is always focused on peacekeeping and the parameters, the lawful, proper, peaceful manner in which to do so. And through those, you have only various sectors of our entity, as they're called. And that's the Continental Marshal Service, Land Jurisdiction Sheriffs, and what we're talking about today briefly, State Militia. Okay. Now this site is not set up yet, but just kind of show you what we're working with. Again, another primer of what the Peacekeeping Task Force news site will be. People can subscribe, support by really small donation, $3 a month. I don't know those details yet. That's something that the Federation is and the developers of the site, including myself, are working through. It'll tie in all of the aspects of what the Peacekeeping Task Force will offer in terms of proper, as you see on the screen, evaluating, training, and coordination of those details. Okay. But this will be a new site, a magazine site. You'll get those subscribers will receive a free bi-monthly or bi-weekly newsletter, kind of an exclusive look on what's taking place in the realm of peacekeeping and what all that it's about, Federation level. So you'll have various aspects of everything, including syndication, because the states will have their own opportunity to provide their own local developments at the county level, and that's current county development.
Great.
Just getting the county out there, taking place, just as a journalist would provide.
Right.
Building that trust within their readership as freelance journalists, free press, and so that's there. And then the development at the state and of course county level regarding their assemblies. Okay, so it's really, really, really magnificent things that are going to take place through here, to include the proper evaluation, training, and coordination, which is built upon communication and logistics for Continental Marshal Service, Land Jurisdiction Sheriffs, and State Assembly Militia. Okay, so that's coming. It'll have an emphasis on Federation relationship between the Peacekeeping Task Force and the Federation and the states. National exposure for the states as they work together. A blog where articles will be provided for the American States Assembly and the Federation of States, so it's kind of a group effort, and that's a worldwide blog center. Syndication is for state, particularly county developments, everything taking place and everything about syndication. Okay. Syndication typically isn't free, and when it's granted, it's filtered through an editor. So your journalists, reporters, they struggle to get commissions, and then once they do receive a commission, forever how long, the editor is the one that calls the shots on their work. So it's a love-hate relationship. And then of course here will be the states, all 50 states, and their counties, including yours, and anybody you have on your county who's doing the legwork and providing work, investigative work and reporting work for their county. And it can be anything and everything. There should be anything and everything about the community value, community growth, things that are taking place on, And so it's to be determined as how far these Americans will go on their counties, and we anticipate considerable outreach.
Right.
All right, so that's that. Now let me ask you this. Let me find a thing here. Okay, one more here. One more. Let me do more. I'm going to work with 7 tabs instead of 6. All right, Christine, what's your county?
Right, 26. Gibson.
No, the name.
Gibson.
The name. Gibson.
Gibson.
All right, and again, this is everything that you leading up to what you just was discussing, but beyond the abstract, more of a kind of a focus. Okay, so this is what I challenge everybody to do. Everybody in Indiana, yourself as well, Christine for Gibson County, Indiana. Simply type into your favorite browser, most convenient one. Type in county or county name, word county, and then state, name of state. You should get a friendly little convenient Wikipedia, for what it's worth, Wikipedia link to your local county government website. Okay, some are pretty, some are accessible, some are a combination of both. And believe it or not, some are almost completely non-functional. They're there, but it seems like nobody's home.
Yeah, Marion County is a lot like that, where they have they're quick to link you to forms, but not to actually get anywhere and do anything.
Mm-hmm. Now this is what's interesting. This doesn't seem to be your county website. This is more of a function that's going on.
Oh, I think that's I think that may be like the tourist for the.
Yeah, and they're linked. There's a purpose for that. So just go a little further, go into where you start to see historic value of your county, and go into this section here that's ordered off, all the way down to the bottom, and then you should see their website, the actual website. Okay, yeah, that's it. Now, Christine, this is your county government web portal. Okay, now the question is, when you start to realize what's the county government structure, you start to realize that there are different types of county structure. Okay, so I'm just going in here to kind of illustrate there is a difference. They're purposely different, and some are more convenient than others. So here's an instance right here. Kentucky has 120 counties, and every county, by state law, that all county local governments are operated the same way when it comes to fiscal responsibility. Okay, so I'll have a judge executive, and so will my neighboring counties in all Kentucky counties. And this deals with matters of, expenditures, cost on the various districts or sections that they have across each county. Mm-hmm. My county has 5 districts, so there's 5 magistrates. Okay, now yours, and I just peered in just quickly, so we'll see. You might have you should have a combination. There is an incorporation on the majority of all counties in every state. There's not. I don't know if there's any fully unincorporated county government. That would be nice to find that, but probably not.
Right.
So it's going to be a mixture. Some, though, have no physical court. So no judge, no physical responsibilities at the county level. Because county relationships that are incorporated with the county, they're incorporated by the city. Okay? And the cities will have this Board of County Commissioners, administrators, police jury, which is very rare. But I believe the majority of the counties on Louisiana has a police jury government structure. It's not every county. Okay? That's why I emphasize that Kentucky's, every single one of their counties operate the same way, which means they have a judge executive, they have magistrates who are also kind of like judges. And they meet every 2 weeks typically, unless they have special meetings in between, and they hashed out all of the details regarding funding. Which is really interesting, us looking forward in the future, the county assembly citizens and the state assembly citizens alike will be talking about how to spend for roads and for bids and all the various types of funding that fiscal courts have, which is capital funding, flex funding, emergency, what do they call it, miscellaneous type funding. They have different funds, including grants that comes in for whatever reason, including other aspects. And we're talking about, typically, I think after an election, I think the term goes up to 8 years, I think, maybe 4, maybe 8, for these judges. So it's really interesting, especially when you can listen in on these meetings. Okay? Now, I've had the opportunity to go to, I won't pull it up here. I can maybe send it to you guys later. Hopefully we can talk about this again soon, because this is where it's at. This is the fun. Because again, between the abstract and the highly technical, the question is, where do the Indianans begin to embrace and become knowledgeable of how their local government is structured? Okay, so let's go back to yours. 'cause this is where that relationship building begins to take place. Just like local press, whose sole purpose is to provide trustworthy material, to build a trust, to build a readership. So should the Americans build some kind of trust and comprehension of what their local government does and how the local government is structured. Okay. Are you familiar? I don't want to insult your intelligence. You probably might be aware of how your government's structured. I'm looking for it. Okay.
No, other than just that recently that the county elected to go allow city police to not be residents.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, not really what's happening, but just how you're.
But other than I haven't really gotten into what the structure is.
Okay, so Gibson County, like any other county, is structured as it is, and of course, it has a local government. Thing is, the county is the one that is de jure, or that's the sovereign relationship, and all of the people living on it, whether they're subjects unto themselves, and they're serving the people, they're sovereign, and they willingly serve the people, and they're not slaves, they're not, they're not 14th Amendment citizens. They're actually not in the world of the true nature of things. You have sovereigns serving sovereigns temporarily, and with that, you garner much respect. That's the idea. Okay, but your county is the one that is sovereign. Where are they incorporated though? If you're having not your sheriff, who's the law of the land, who's truly earning their keep, so to speak, and building that reputation, again, building that trust with all the people on all of the county, the entire county. If they're not the law of the land, and they have a city government that they're incorporated with, then ultimately, and that city government is administering, or by virtue of the city government separate from the county government. Remember, county first, it's the county. And you have the town or various parishes around, however, depending on the size of the county. But you have a seat, and there's only one seat for every county. Okay? And that's usually where the sheriff is, the courthouse, everything goes on there. But if there's a city there that's separate from the functions of the county, and then the county is working on other aspects of the county, we have an incorporation staring us right in the face. That
could be because as you can see in the picture, the courthouse is right there, but on the side, all along the side streets are the city police and city officials too.
Right. Okay. So let's try to flush this out. I mean, give me one more. I'm gonna do this for myself now. This is for everybody. I'm just gonna pull up one more. County the same way. County, or county name, county word, state. I don't dig too far. It's not necessary because Wikipedia does a fine enough job of finding what you need. So I can tell you this is my courthouse. Now watch the difference between. Already I can tell your county and my county. Not the size or the layout of the website, but the government. Okay? Yeah, yes, they're incorporated. Taylorsville, the town, there's pictures that you see flowing through here. It does have a city, Taylorsville, a government in Taylorsville. There's where your police commissioners or commissioners are. Other functions that you hear, particularly about the schools or other things. But for sure, a county that's more de jure, I suppose you could say, is those who have a county government separate from their incorporated entities at the city. And that's where they are. First thing you'll notice, fiscal court. And that fiscal means is dealing with budgeting, and which is budgeting deals with fiduciary responsibilities. And what are those fiduciary responsibilities? What are they covering down on? Okay. So these are the ones, and I've listened to over 1.5 years meetings of these. I've watched 2 administrations go through there now. This is exactly what they talk about. Zoning, and this is a combination of discussions that they have between their responsibility. And again, there's 5 districts on my county, and there's the relationship between what goes on in the city government, and then which is handed off with their shared responsibility, the eyes on of various functions on the county, to include zoning, emergency management, safety committee functions, which is very limited, solid waste, veterans committee. Now this is interesting because we're talking about the relationship between the the General Assembly and the militia assembly. If you find, as I'm challenging anybody, go in and start to get comfortable with and more familiar with your county government, whether it has a county function separate from city, it should, and what are they? Because they are, just like you mentioned earlier, Christine, they're driven by committees,
Right.
well, and commissioners, so a board of commissioners and council. Typically, council's on the county side, and commissioners, board of commissioners are on the city side. There's where the incorporation is. There's where the counties lose their de jure, their sovereignty, is when they incorporate, as we know. But now, where are they incorporated? When you say how they're incorporated by the state through their city. And if you know the cities where the seat is, or the town, that's where the sheriff is. And the sheriff is de jure over the entire county. So you can start to see a firm disconnect, purposely, when you find out that city functions and a city government is separate from a county government. Yet, without the city government, there would be no incorporation. It would be the county conducting all of its services. And that's why you have a police chief, sheriff versus police. Sheriff is responsible and elected by the people, and the police chief is driven by a police commissioner. And they're paramilitary, their function is. So, okay, just want to get everybody kind of wet everybody's whistle on what the incorporation aspect is. And then again, through the city, then the state gets involved. The state is then directly started to move funds in and out or offer funding, and further aspects in the form of strings attached, of course. But anyway, if you have a veterans committee, just keep a note of that. We do, my county does, and all of 120 Kentucky counties should. If they don't, they can't. Just by virtue of one county having it, they feel the need to discuss it, so they do, whether it's robust or stagnant. As we know, as we're learning, committees that are stagnant or non-productive usually dissolve. Because there's people that are participating in those committees, and if there's nothing going on, they can elect to dissolve that committee. Which hopefully not, because this is a really great opportunity for status-corrected people like myself, who is a veteran. Okay, so we're endeavoring to pursue a warm handshake, and how, and where, and to whom. Okay, in my case, it's going to be a judge executive, and the magistrate, which there's five districts, overlaid my county. It's only one county, but 5 districts. We already know we're dealing with a persuasion by the city government to overlay districts, which is it's a military function, and it's an overlay. I only have one county. Why do I have 5 districts? For convenience, yes, but it's more nefarious. Okay, equipment committee, telecommunication, administrative code committee, all of these things, as you see, is what is discussed. I'm looking for the sheriff here, because the sheriff, awesomely, conveniently enough, also conducts meetings here. Okay, it's not in this particular August 7, 2023. But anyway, they have meeting minutes. Okay, this is what I was kind of going for. They have meeting minutes, and they have since 2011, but they haven't started holding audio-video meetings until 2019. You have audio-video meetings, which is a luxury, like what you're providing. It's a luxury because it's not what governments are required to have. They are required to have meetings, an agenda. They're required to have an open forum, unless it's what they call an executive session meeting, where they discuss things behind closed doors. But then they come back and then they conclude with what was discussed and see under their structure. Perhaps that's necessary. But then, every 2 weeks, this is what mine does. I'm just going to click one of their most recent. Just really quickly. They share onto Facebook, which I don't use anymore, but also YouTube. And now look, I would challenge you, we'll go back to yours in a moment. I'm kind of privileged in my tiny little town that I have a county judge executive and the magistrates that they work with that actually streams audio and video of their meetings. Because that's above and beyond what their office provides. Okay? Let's go back to Gibson. Find it. There you go. Let's find it again like we did before. It's not this one. This one. Just Wikipedia. Gibson County. Okay. Going back through. Remember? Go back down. Picture. Topography. State topography. Website. Boom. You're looking for, and this is for everybody. Challenge everybody. Look on theirs. Look around, even around yours. Christine, if you'd like, and find your structure. Just start to feel around and see what they offer. See, it's already vague, but look, you have county commissioners meeting. If you find judge executive, then great. They have that. Judge executive automatically have the responsibility to hold fiduciary meetings. Okay, so here's your calendar. So far, no or available record of audio video recordings. They don't have to have that, okay? They can have just an agenda, minutes, which are approved from a previous meeting. So there's a scribe, and they go through every word that was ever said. They annotate it, they provide it. If you have the opportunity to go to wherever they're holding their meetings, and it's a public meeting, of course you can sit and listen and record. But to find, see here, let's look at already animals. These are all the services. These are the positions are held, and it's depending on here you go, sheriff. Whatever's going on in your county, no matter the government structure in its entirety, you have access to these roles. And I can tell you right now, and I do challenge everybody again to get familiar with your own county. But I'll also share with you, Christine, links to my county. And if you have the time, they hold 1-2 hour meetings, typically between 1 and 2 hours. And I challenge everybody, if they're interested, what has taken place during the live exercise that took place 2 years in a row. The election, federal election scandal issue, whatever, all which happened at the same time. Go ahead and find the time and maybe put it on speed, 1.5 speed, and just listen to what was discussed between my two administrations, the outgoing and the current, the judge executive and the magistrates that they're working with. Because we have the unique privilege of listening and empathizing with them just doing their job. But they're spending money, They're building roads, they're, squabbling about, as they should, with fiduciary responsibility. They're talking about their committees, things that are going on in the committee. You really, really get just, even with that recording, you get you get to share in some of the intimate details at a professional level, and business that's taking place on your county. Okay, just so you can see what it feels like, not only for what's going on, but what will be going on at the county level and state. I mean, I don't recommend going to your state capital and just trying to find meetings. I mean, you probably could find them, but they're more coded and stuffy, and people wearing suits. I mean, whatever it is to those who find the value, fine. But it's just been an amazing experience, a growing experience, not only for my state, but their counties, people on their counties as well. And no, not every of the 120 counties on Kentucky, even though they do have a fiscal court and fiduciary responsibilities, not all of them record audio and video meetings, even through the live exercise, pandemic, whatever, all of that. All the treachery that took place from 2014 from 2020 to 2022, almost 24 months. But yeah, what we're trying to find then is build that relationship between the county, so that's your sheriff, no matter what, it's your sheriff. Everything goes right to your sheriff. But it's nice to know who they talk with and what they discuss with their leaders, the rest of their government, which includes them as well. All of the ins and outs and details, it's just fascinating, it's interesting. I mean, so anyway, if you don't have yours where you can actually listen in, fine. But definitely get the agenda. You can get the agenda. Look at that, you have access to your state police. I have never heard any discussion in a year and a half so far of anything that the judge executive for my county has never mentioned anything about the Taylorsville Police Department. Not one thing. Not one thing. Because that's not their responsibility. Although Taylorsville Police Department exists. Because they exist and their goings on. It's on the other side of town, and they deal with commissioners. They don't even the sheriff. Sheriff Scott Herndon never mentions anything about police chief, police officers. So it's really, really interesting and confusing a little bit as well. It's compelling. That's probably the best way to say it.
Yeah.
So I just challenge you to do that. Okay. I can send you these links, kind of a snapshot. Here's Harris County, which is a precinct of Houston, Texas. So what's interesting about this one is it gives a breakdown of what a county government is. That's Harris County. Here's Harris County Precinct 2. Precincts is another aspect of districts. And they are military terms, they're paramilitary terms. Okay, so but this is just what's going on Precinct 2, just like District 5 in the county level. Precinct 2, I believe, is an area over the city, or multiple cities, or multiple areas around the city. You know. But here's your breakdown for your Government 101, a little bit, just really quickly. A county government, so it does specify the difference between a county government and a city government. Absolutely needs to be known and appreciated that there is a distinction between these two, because they have different roles to play.
Right.
Now, if we're Americans and we're de jure, we have corrected our status on our state. The same goes for our county, and the same, us living upon our county. But the same is for the county itself. So if the county has a de jure function of itself, although it's incorporated with the city, and then you have the state coming in and the federal government then throwing funds here to persuade the entire county to do as they're persuaded, that's not good. So who would be, in the future, persuaded properly, professionally, to be, get straightened up or be liquidated? It would be the city government. Their charter, they're incorporated there. That would be the ones to go. And then all of the encroachment or all of the excess services, maybe, perhaps, whatever, would either be renegotiated, removed, or altogether. But definitely wherever they go, it's going to be under the county government. You'll see the sheriff here. Sheriff under the county. You won't see anything about sheriff in this structure, because they don't exist. That's strange, don't you think? And this is where you get the idea of a mayor. Mayors are not a sovereign overseer. Not a mayor. Okay. And they're under the city every time. Okay. So I just want to kind of throw that in there. I hope it lands somewhere in the minds of yourself as well, Christine.
Well, that was great to take us through that, so that we can, some homework that we can all get started on. That's something that we can definitely do for our county. And if you did look up your county and gathered some information, if you create a video, or if you present something about what you found, we can be able to start collecting all that information for all the counties and compile it together, as well as you're learning along the way.
Yeah, definitely. Now, well, you'll start to realize that if you do not have a judge, a judge exec, or those who are holding public meetings, okay, that are just discuss with other people who should be elected, okay, and they're holding meetings about things that are being costs for your impact, not for little projects here, there, sporadic around the county, but for the whole county as a goal. That's where you want to focus on.
Right.
If you don't have a county government like it doesn't appear to be, then you have to then focus on the sheriff.
Okay.
Is this your sheriff?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
What's wrong with him?
Oh, I have a thing about names.
Okay, well, you can tell already that this is interesting here because he's got double tips on each one of the stars. But that's good because he's not a de jure sheriff, which is kind of maybe the point. This would be a silver star without tips on the end. And he's presented himself already as being limited. That's the whole point of that. This department is telegraphing that they are not the true sheriff. De jure sheriff. Not state elected. Maybe state elected, but county elected, but not the answers to the commissioner overall. So anyway, that's pretty interesting.
So that's also a tip for everyone as you're going through looking at your counties to look at what their shield looks like.
Yeah, I don't think they did that not by accident. They know for sure that this is
yeah.
This shows that they have they don't have de jure. They're not all lamb. This is what a continental marshal would wear. See that? But that's a good talking point. You could ask them and say, "Hey, well, Sheriff, why do you have beveled tips on your 5-pointed star? It's good you have 5." But these are friendly questions. Just curious.
Yeah.
Curious questions.
Right.
Some people wouldn't even think to ask. Some
Right.
sheriffs wear 6-pointed stars, and some of them also wear 9-pointed stars. And then the gold is an inferior element, and that is a international medal. He would be wearing a national medal, silver,
Right.
and it would have 5 points, sharp points. It would be silver with 5 points, sharp points. But that's really just a talking point. But you can this is your county, your sheriff's office, your sheriff, all of the details that they're working with, and you would ask Sheriff Bruce here. Say, Sheriff Bruce, how come? Do you meet with? Who do you ask? I'm just curious. Do you have access to? Do we have access to your other meetings and whatnot? That's a good question. And who do you submit your yearly budgets to, or salary caps? All of these other questions. How do you even ask that? Which is great. It's because I've personally heard these discussions held on my county and my county court. So I've had a privilege of having a physical judge executive for over a physical court to judge, and the magistrates that they work together. I will share that with you, Christine, so that you can, when you have time, turn it on. And it's a little bit boring because maybe someone say it goes through, but the discussions that they have, it makes you want to pause and listen. Because when do I ever get a chance to hear the people on my county getting things done, spending money, spending lots of money, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, and discussing amongst themselves, and they're bargaining, and they're trying to illustrate a fiduciary responsibility. They're trying to get deals, they're putting bids in, all of these things, because that's what the American people are going to be doing. Those who are serving at the county and state level. And can you imagine the nightmare that it would be to have to negotiate all of that? That's why I'm saying we're in between an abstract and the highly technical. this is a glimpse at the highly technical in the future. And this is regarding militia, this is regarding courts, because you're talking about the sheriffs and then jailers and clerks. I mean, they're all there. Not here. I mean, it's a little bit obscure, but hey, this is kind of the thing. This is kind of the going consensus. This is why I say you'd probably be hard pressed on any of your counties to find on Indiana to have any judge executive that has a county government separate from, because a lot of things tend to take place at the city only.
Mm-hmm.
Where now the city's calling the shots. Even the sheriff is there. You're supposed to be elected by the county. The people. He represents. If anybody at all can easily determine who's the law of the land, who's the superior law of the land, it's the county sheriff, not city sheriff. There is no such thing as city sheriff. There's city police and the county sheriff.
Right.
So county sheriff, where are you meeting with the county regarding counties? Your deputies on the various areas. City commissioner takes care of that. Like, huh? What? Anyway, there's a little bit of levity there. So just kind of feel around, and I put this challenge out to other areas. I mean, look, this is just, if you go on, I don't have it here. Check my other browser here, and I'll wrap it up. No, I don't have it on here. They're on YouTube also. See, they have meeting videos. They actually bid and decided amongst themselves, the magistrates there and the judge, to put in for, I don't know, a few $1,000, maybe 1,000, 2 or 3 a year, to set up to where they can hold meetings. And this is right after 2019.
Yep.
2019.
Yep.
No meetings. No meetings recorded. 2018. I mean, they've had meetings, yes. They'll have an agenda that was there. They did have the meeting, but no recordings. Okay. They only started doing it in 2020 because they had social distancing. Okay. And so, how would they meet if they had the social distance using technology like we do?
Mm-hmm.
So they started in July 28th and have kept going all the way until 2023. Now, it's great to be able to see these things. Like I said, I'll end it with this. But you will be hard-pressed to find it at your county. The next best thing I would advise anybody, if you wanted to, Christine, and share, kind of have a little group, get together and say, you know what, that little Podunk County down there in Kentucky, Spencer County, they actually had held audio-video meetings of the judge executive, fiscal court. And they discussed the very ins and outs of the things we'll be discussing. So, hey, folks, y'all want to listen? Here you go. And just have fun.
Yeah.
You'll empathize. You will empathize with every one of these men and women because they're being paid to balance, to maintain a fiduciary responsibility. No matter where the funding's coming from, they only have so much. And all of the discussion and the struggle and the little bit of strife, a little bit of confusion, a little bit of anger, frustration, it's all there.
Yep.
Okay. But the whole point of really all this sharing, on top of this, in combination with this, is for that the liaison that the Federation mentioned not long ago, the Federation states regarding discussing with your local government and getting the word out as someone who's have also corrected their status but has no skin in the game beyond wanting to remain peaceful, lawful, and have an open door discussion from the effort that's taking place at the state level, like your state assembly, Indiana State Assembly, the things going on between this meeting and all other pillar meetings at the state level, at your state capital, and then that same reciprocation of that same value going down to the county levels. And so there's a merger of things that are taking place between getting familiar with your county. Where are you again? Your county and its government. Not you in particular, you, Christine, necessarily, but people, Indianans on their county, learning the ropes, learning what's going on, learning their local government, trying to learn the language that they speak, the responsibilities that they maintain, all the while attempting to be that liaison, perhaps, and be that subject matter expert, to be able to get an opportunity to help them not be foreclosed on or leaned against. I mean, can you imagine a judge, a sheriff who's honestly trying to do the best they can with what they have? Oh, they got a diluted county government ran by the city, largely, it's not entirely by the city, running roughshod over his or her law of the land, sovereignty, and all the other aspects of their county government. Could you imagine coming in, someone in saying, hey, we're here to protect Florida for our sheriff? We certainly honor your office and honor what you've provided us thus far. All of the offices in the county that are elected, we honor all of those. And we're Americans who've corrected our status, and we're here to build the relationship and help you to keep from being yourself to be leaned against and ruined financially. I mean, can you imagine them taking the opportunity to even hear that? Like, hey, instead of ignoring these people have the ability to lean us, Maybe in 3 liens, they're not able to function on the county. And what devastation would that be against actual crimes that take place on the county level? If a sheriff was removed, or a judge, maybe, whatever, clerk, depends. It's a little bit hard to go beyond that, Christine, so I hope these past 45 minutes or so have helped out.
No, I think this is great. This is giving everybody something they can be able to sink their teeth into, that is something that they can connect with their county, and start diving into getting to know their county structure, and hopefully that'll encourage them to finish what they need to do to armor up, and then get the background check and member agreement in, and we can get some business happening here. Get the work done.
Well, and just imagine also, Christine, can you imagine that people at your speaker of your general assembly, or the speaker of your assembly militia, imagine them going to the state as a body politic, attempting to speak the language of the people who work at the state capitol. And people at the state capitol there are being respectful and are recognized to some degree who these people are at the state level, state assembly. But then those same people will ask, well, I'm just curious. I mean, who are the folks at your county? What kind of government function do you guys run? What have your meetings, recent meetings been about? Do you imagine those same people, the speaker of your militia assembly or general assembly, not having any clue about their own local government? How so totally embarrassing that would be. I mean, so this is the challenge. It's a bittersweet.
Well, and that's with course correction. You have to start with yourself before you could ever think about trying to help anybody else or anything else correct.
It makes perfect sense, and so, I would be honored, and I would be expected to be challenged that way. Mm-hmm. If anybody at Frankfort, Kentucky, asked me, hey, well, how's it going over there in Spencer County? I'd be like, wonderful, man. They're doing a fine job. I'm familiar with what they're doing, who's doing it. I'm familiar with the county and city government structure, and so I would expect them to have me answer in that way. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be an expert in it, but just familiar.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because they would call our bluff, and they would be ashamed. We should be ashamed if they have to say, folks, I don't think you guys know what you're doing. You want to take over for your court, but you don't know how your own local government is running enough to be able to shake hands with the sheriff and say, hey, sheriff, we're here to help. How are we here to help the sheriff if we don't even know who he meets with or she, what they do? It's absurd. But it's fixable, very doable. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So just get familiar. Since we have these websites, and we have the opportunity. When we have the opportunity, we can read their agenda of previous minutes, things that just who conducted these meetings, who's who, and where's where. It's not a lot. It's just one county.
Right. Yeah.
So, in one county at a time. So, but I will share you with this because I'm not screen sharing now. But I will send you a link to my county, and when you have time, and it's convenient because every meeting that they've had, it's only been since mid-2020 up until currently, and you just how you do that.
Well, and from what we just saw, it showed that Gibson County even is going through. It listed Kentucky for the fiscal court, so we might as well start getting.
Oh, okay. So I'm really interested. I'm hoping to hear more discussion just for myself, anyway. And again, Kentucky's 120 counties, they're structured the exact same way. There is no city government saturation on the counties. Every county in Kentucky has a county government. And they all should operate the same. Do they all have meetings? No. Audio, video recorded? No. And they don't have to. They don't have to.
Right.
The fact that they do is really great, super convenient, because now you get to listen in on what they were discussing and what they're currently discussing and who's responsible for what. You quickly become familiar with a lot of things. Now go and try to
And in this new world that we're in, the body language says a lot too.
Oh yeah. Now watch this though. I mean, I'll send you that. Now, if I go to Taylorsville, which is my county, my city in my county, if I go to try to find audio, video meetings, they're not there. They have them. They have their agenda. Okay, that's fine. But how did they conduct business during the COVID live exercise? How did they do that? How did anybody conduct meetings? They had to be just like you and I are making.
Yeah, had to. That's the only way. I mean, of course, there are some people that are cell phone and text message and would probably hold meetings that way too.
Right, and but you know, they, as you'll see, they're holding meetings. They have to have votes. They have to, we have to vote on this payment. This bid. So their cameras have to be on, and it has to be recorded. So where are those meetings? Now they may have them, but they're not offering them to the public. But that's a public meeting. Well, it is at the county level. If the city doesn't, we got a real problem. But which they do. I mean, they are. Let's say you could go to your county right now, your city, find out, wow, the Gibson, you all run the shots all over this whole county. That's really crazy. But okay, I guess sit here and listen to all the things you guys decide on, and then go from there. That's time consuming. It's not as easy. You can't unless you have a recorder. It's just cumbersome. And so they reduce it down to qualifying their minutes from their previous meeting. They make a motion to adopt. And that's great. So then you can look at the previous meeting and get familiar that way. In addition to going physically to a 1 or 2 hour or more meeting every 2 weeks with special meetings in between. I mean, it's designed that way because it's time consuming that way. But back in the day, it was done at the county level. The entire government was for the county, and it was just them calling the shots. The county. So it was time consuming then too. So anyway, I just want to tip my hat to the fact that at least my county right now, just by virtue of providing most recent and current audio, video recording, it takes it to the next level. Because now we have the opportunity. The state assembly, citizens, and the future county assembly citizens get a chance to know how the county,
what that looks like.
What it looks like, exactly. Because I'm not gonna. I think it's already happened. Although certain assemblies are trying to cross some threshold where they can reach out to their state governments, to try to get, but okay, that's fine, but it can only go so far when those same people look down at the state's assembly.
Yeah, probably better work on getting states and getting the state and counties, getting some of those counties pulled to have, or some background with them to help support, not just go straight in.
Right, and the fiduciary responsibility. This is the thing we've always been talking about. Eventually, we're not going to be doing these things for free. It's going to take a considerable amount of time and labor and dedication. and it's going to be over considerable amounts of funding. So we better empathize with these same people that are doing what they're doing now and learn.
Right.
Or else instead if we're just trying to assert ourselves and we have hardly next to no clue what they do. You talk about that's not a fiduciary responsibility. Not to even know. Get out of here. You do what we tell you. I don't mean to be rash, but you do what we tell you. We're sovereign. Okay, well, what do you want us to do? Oh, I don't know. Come on, man. That's just not
right.
That's unacceptable.
And that's where we have, we have a mass training of learning how this should work from our view, because nobody's done it. So,
all right.
And that's that big leap of the fear of that comes with it.
Well, we're right at an hour for this thing, so I'll share that with you directly.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'll send you the link. And I'll wrap. I'm summarizing here.
Okay.
I'll send you the link to my county, and you just simply look, in your audience, in Indiana, just look at the difference, realize the difference between county and or city government and or Kentucky and all of its 120 counties happens to have two, and they are separate, county and city government. And the fact that a county and city have two separate governments, they're incorporated. They become incorporated. Now who's over this in this relationship? It's the city. This because the city is their charter is coming from the state instead of the county providing a direct relationship to the state. Okay, and that's how they did it. And then through the state, so there's the degradation that's taking place. The fact that they have a municipality running through their, we know understand about the municipal government. How the municipal government from DC is entering into our counties to through the city. And it's not hard to understand. It's okay. We still need to realize what these people are doing, who they are, what their fiduciary responsibility is, how they're keeping the roads up, how they're providing the services that we all can say we appreciate. We do appreciate.
Right.
So just learn those, get familiar with the types of costs that are going through your county. It's just fascinating. And your agenda will show those minutes of the expenditures, the costs, hundreds of thousands, and millions. Mm-hmm. Even down to the smallest few $100s. I mean, they typically should discuss all of the details about anything that comes through. And they should attempt to negotiate. And if it's being recorded, which it is, there's a scribe there are every minute. It's all there for you to be able to read. Fortunately, though, on these same governments, city or county, when they don't utilize the technology that we're utilizing, now it becomes even more time consuming for us to go through and read. Because I can listen to this recording, put my headphones in, do what I need to do, put it on 1.5 speed, and just listen. Mm-hmm. Listen, I can hear a replay. Mm-hmm. And I can read the facial expression that I can hear, just like what you appreciate. I appreciate those same details. But they a lot of the counties, they don't offer it. And it's just strange why they don't. Really don't. I can tell you though this, and I'll say, when you listen to the recordings from my judge executive and the magistrates that he works with, they get into some frustrating arguments. I mean, they do. And they're getting paid, so that's their work. Mm-hmm. Getting paid and they're maintaining that. And as far as we know, that's all they know. They don't have time to talk about politics or anything. They don't throw stones at what's going on in D.C. You even get to hear meetings of what took place between January 6th, that infamous day, January 6th. They didn't mention it at all.
Good.
Because that's not what they're talking about.
Right. They're staying on point.
Staying on point. Yep. It's just fascinating. Mm-hmm. They're talking about all these little things. It's really, really super. Mm-hmm. For me, especially because all of these meetings are taking place just 7 miles away from where I am. And it's not too far away from you either. Okay, there we go. That's all I have.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. That was a lot, and I'm already ready to start digging in more. Well, we'll go ahead and we will the next one for the General Assembly is September the 4th, but we have then next week the 28th for the General Assembly call. And so and I apologize for that email, so the next one it'll be set up correctly. And and I'm cleaning it up as well, so we don't have to do as many. So just cleaning it to the General Assembly being the first and third Monday, right? Yeah, first and third, and then the second and fourth Sunday being the Durrell. And like October has a fifth Monday in there, so we won't have that. Give a little bit of a. It's for the 30th of October, but anyway, so that'll be a little bit of something else to do, maybe some extra studying. But
Christine, an hour goes by so fast, and I know that it does.
Oh yeah.
Forgive me if I talk quickly, but I really want to maximize that hour.
Oh yeah.
Instead of replays at 1.5, people can replay mine at 0.5 because it's to slow it down, maximize their time. That's why I try to provide as much information.
Oh, and I am totally all into it.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for being with us this evening. I want to thank everyone that did make it to the call. We had St. Joe County and Vigo County on YouTube streaming with us this evening. And we'll go ahead and again, we are adjourned then and for the General Assembly for September the 4th. But we will be on next week's call, the 28th, for the Durrell Assembly. All right, I want to go ahead.
Just remember, folks, when things start to ramp up, and they ramp up periodically throughout the season, sometimes I can't make some meetings, but I'll try to let you guys know ahead of time.
Okay.
And at least provide enough substantive value during these meetings to where maybe you guys can
discuss it in those. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
And I'll be sure to make it back whenever I can, for sure.
Okay.
Every time if I can, every other week.
Awesome. Thank you. Peace and love, everyone. Have a great evening.
See ya.
Recording stopped.